that's the first time I've seen him literally like throw it at somebody and like dribble them to death. He also did it to the Lewis Hall guy, and
I don't think he's had a shot on target.
Do you think he was brought in to score goals or just to be a link?
he contributed.
It needs to be going right. We might need to switch things up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what's cost us.
Eddie Nketiah Henry is here to stay. He's like the rebirth.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time you're listening, welcome to another episode of Podcast Pundits. I am your host, Lestrada, and I'm joined by my fellow pundits today, starting from my right, Strives.
Yo, what's happening, guys? As he's introduced me, I'm Strives. I'm an avid Arsenal fan. I don't know if you can hear me smiling, but
You can hear from your breath, bruv. You can see that. Yeah.
We can see your breath.
listen, I don't know who you are yet. Yeah, yes, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm happy to be here this week. And all my Arsenal fans, I got you. Don't worry, man. I've heard you.
Jerry.
Hi guys, I'm Joey. Go as Joey Snake Eyes, Joey Nomadic, or just Joey. I'm not particularly happy to be here, but I'm happy to be alive. And I'm happy to spectate the smoke that's going to be delivered today. So I'm just your fly and all for the day.
Dre, man.
Yo, yeah, I'm Dre Man, aka, and I'm a Man United fan.
AKA, you said AKA. What does that mean? Also known as
Dre.
Loser!
Sorry, admit it. It's too early.
Way too early, bro. Way too early. But yeah, Man United fan, obviously. Yeah, we'll go through it, but yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on, and yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yo, guys, are you all right?
Okay, let me finish the intros first. Miles.
Yeah, Marley Mar. Yeah, United fan. Your most humble United fan, particularly in the last week. What can you do? Hold tight.
Good. Yeah, before we start the pod, let me just mention to you listeners that you can find us available on all major platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple. On social media, we are on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Yeah, you can find all the details in our description. So yeah,
Rebels in Twitter as well. Don't follow the rules and thing. Always getting warnings. Done already. Hold tight, the gang.
It's hard out here, man. We're just trying to catch a break.
Yeah, I know we want to talk about the main event, which is the United game. But before we do that, I think it only makes sense for us to start with the undercard, which is Liverpool-Chelsea. So, Joey.
No.
You weren't ready for that, bro.
To be fair, that's an apt description. But yeah, you caught me off guard by that. To be fair, I was just pouring myself a drink to drown my sorrows.
Bro, don't pour the drink, bro. Just drink from the bottle, man.
Yeah, so obviously there's a stalemate between two former heavyweights. So yeah, Joe, talk to us. How do you feel about the game?
Yeah, this is a real David Hay versus Derek Chisora clash. It was actually a good game. Obviously, excuse me. Obviously, like if you're a person who's here for goals and all of that, it wasn't a game for you. But in terms of just looking at it, it's like a chess game. Both teams were up for it initially. Then both teams were a bit scared and started playing reserved. And you can kind of see all the different moves as they were going, the substitutions that were being made. So, like from the kind of purist side of it, it was a decent game to watch. But as a Liverpool fan, it's a bit sad to see the current state of affairs, but then at the end of the day, we were happy to just take a clean sheet, man. That game could have gone either way, and a bit of wastefulness from our side, and I'd say a bit of wastefulness from Chelsea as well. Just two teams currently living in their shadows. I don't know if you guys watched the game, but I don't really have much to say because it wasn't eventful in terms of like seeing Mudryk come on the pitch and seeing his cameo. And again, just kind of like looking at the way Gakpo was kind of playing without anyone to play off of. he was playing as like the spearhead, and I could see that he was struggling in that position. But I did like seeing him get on the ball, having ball retention. There was a couple of things that I could pick up and then say that we're going to build up off. I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a few positives to take from the game. We really played like we were in the position we are currently in.
But there's no confidence.
No, there was wasn't really no confidence. It was more kind of like knowing the job, and the job at hand is literally going into the games, getting clean sheets, and trying to nick wins until we have a fully fit squad, and then maybe we can start talking about all the other stuff. But I think just doing like basic building blocks at this point.
So do you expect things to remain the same until you get your injured players back?
I think players are starting to do training sessions, full training sessions. So I think so. Again, I'm not really expecting anything magical. Like even yesterday, like Jamie Carragher was tweeting, bring on Darwin Núñez.
Why didn't he start? Has he just come back from injury or something?
Yeah, so he's actually still injured as well.
Okay.
And again, I checked the injury list as well. Like for example, Firmino's hasn't got a date for his return. I think Diaz and Jota are somewhere like the second week of February.
Yeah.
So it's a dire situation, and I think Chelsea's also in the same position.
I think after that game there, that's the first time I kind of understood what's happening with Chelsea. Like they actually look like once they get all their players back and it clicks, they are going to be a problem. I even forgot they just bought João Felix. João Felix and Modric are going to be.
I'll be honest with you as
entertaining.
well. I've always known this, but I've always just like laughing at Chelsea until it started happening to us, and now I can kind of empathise with them. But I just imagine Liverpool without both of their fullbacks and how flat and dead we'd be.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Chelsea have been. So if they had Reece James and Ben Chilwell playing, I don't think it'd even be that much of a difference, because even though Aubameyang isn't banging goals, we know that when Reece James and Chilwell play, they both score goals, one, and they also create goals as well. So, so I think their problems are kind of like situational.
Yeah, I think they've got such a good setup. They've got all the right ingredients. Like this is a true telling if Graham Potter's got it. If they don't click by the end of the season and they're not kicking ball, then Graham Potter's not the guy. And they need to consider bringing in someone with a little bit more pedigree, I'd say.
I mean, yeah, if you've got potentially two of the best fullbacks in the league in your team, both Liverpool and Chelsea, and they're playing, and you've got, I'd say...
Well, Ben Chilwell, you think he's one of the best?
No, arguably. I don't think he is, but...
For Chelsea, yeah.
But yeah, people could argue that he's one of the top left-backs in the league. If you've got those two, you should be delivering something, or you should be at least creating loads of chances.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you can say, oh, right, your strikers are horrible. And again, Sterling's out as well, so... Yeah, I think personally it's all looking up, and I still think Potter's a decent manager. I've always had him in pretty high regards. I always respect managers that bring lower clubs up. I have a unreserved respect for those people more so than the ones that start at top clubs and stay at the top.
What's your view of Salah at the minute? How do you think he's doing? I know we touched on it last week.
Yeah, so there was a chance where he, to be fair, he ran Cucurella ragged.
It's Cucurella though.
Cucurella.
You've got to remember that.
Yes, but so I think if you look back at the games, the Newcastle game where we scraped a 2-1 win, he struggled because they put two players on him. The Man United game, he struggled because I think it was Fred and Malacia who locked him out of the game. And he's had it really tough, and then I think his confidence has dropped. But that's the first time I've seen him literally like throw it at somebody and like dribble them to death. He also did it to the Lewis Hall guy, and then he did it to I think Koulibaly a little bit as well. But there was a chance where he cut in and had a chance to finesse it into the top corner, and he skied it. And I think that's where we were talking about the 350k salary last season before he signed his contract.
He top bins that
all day.
I was going to say, should he have done better then?
100%. You got to at least hit target. Another thing as well, I just want to say that I'm reserving my judgment on Gakpo because of the current circumstances, and I know that he's being played out of position. But the three chances he had in that game, you'd expect a signing that's come with his kind of fanfare around him to be putting those chances away. It kind of looks symptomatic of the situation we're at Liverpool, where he's just snatching at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much how all of our players are. We're just so desperate to win games right now and just get out of the mire that we're just not playing with composure. We're not playing really smart. There was a few times where Thiago kind of linked up with Naby Keita, who started off shit, but then ended up playing really well and like creating loads of chances for Mo Salah. But
Naby Keita or Thiago?
both of them together.
Yeah, 'cause I was going to say, I think Keita had an all right game.
Yeah, and shout out to Bajetic.
The midfielder.
Well. Yeah,
he's a good player, innit?
He started off a little bit rusty, but I think after about 5 minutes, man, he just like showed his quality. And I thought it was nice as well to see Bajetic and Lewis Hall playing as well. Just seeing that young talent come through, because I think last week Andreas was talking about young talent coming through, and I mentioned him as well, and it was good to see him starting that game, and then at least just showing a message to Fabinho, who was on the bench, that like, bro, this shit you're doing we're not having it in it. Like, play to your standard, or just get shipped up and shipped out, because you got to like keep the squad fresh, man. I'm happy to see like young talent coming in and doing stuff.
Speaking of like obviously bench and starters and stuff like that, because obviously you mentioned both teams potentially have the best fullbacks in the league. Are you talking about James Milner? Because I'm assuming you mean Trent Alexander-Arnold in there, but he didn't come on until like after the 70th minute or something, right?
Well, you know, obviously like Reece James and Ben Chilwell weren't even on the pitch, so clearly I'm not talking about the players that were starting.
So I'm just
But
thinking,
it would be nice if you were like listening to me instead of just trying to shoot at me. I'm not even, because I thought we were friends, isn't it? Like, I thought it was a Man United guy.
That Arsenal game's got to him already.
No, because obviously you made a big deal of talking about the fullbacks, etc., but I'm just wondering why you were talking about.
Because there was a point where both sets of fullbacks were technically or could have been considered the best fullbacks in the league. And if you have those guys playing and they're the guys who create the most chances from that position, more so than most clubs' centre midfielders, then you would expect them to be. You would expect like Graham Potter to be performing a lot better.
Okay, so you're not talking about. Okay, I get what you're saying, because I was wondering what it had to do with the El Midico.
Yeah. All right.
Also, I thought it was.
Well done, bro. Well done. He said El Midico. If anyone didn't hear him, he called the clash the El Midico.
Yeah, no, I mean,
It was though.
and
And
it had all the symptoms of that as well. Because obviously, you said it was a great game for those that who don't mind not seeing a goal scoring game.
Yeah.
But obviously, VAR had obviously early involvement with the Kai Havertz goal being disallowed, rightfully so.
Rightfully, yeah.
Yeah, rightfully so. But then aside from that, you did see like decent spells of football when I was cooking at the same time and watching it on my phone, so I didn't give it 100% concentration. But from what I could see, you could see like you said, there were both teams seemed a little bit like
more so Chelsea for me. I think Chelsea had
more dominant.
Yeah. But you could see like both teams were a little bit like they wanted to go at each other, but they were also there was some anxiety in the play.
Mid-level anxiety, like you said. So nobody wants to drop points, because if you drop points or you lose that game, you're like 13, 14 points off of the top four.
And I think what it did is eventually it kind of affected what you might have expected a game of that magnitude to potentially deliver. Obviously, we've seen you guys go at it like last season a couple of times, and obviously there's been a few like 0-0s and etc. But I just thought this particular game we might see something different, just where both of you know what, namely Liverpool. Actually, Liverpool's in a brilliant position that if you actually won that game, you catapult yourself straight back into that top four discussion because you had games in hand and stuff like that. So I was a little bit, I didn't actually understand Klopp's approach. Just let me land here, because I know you mentioned you actually touched on it. So I actually was listening to you. You said Gakpo has been played out of position, etc. My question would be, why is he being played out of position? Because the front three he started with was a bit confusing. You had Salah on the right, Gakpo up top, Harvey Elliott on the left. Where Harvey Elliott, when he has played in the forward position, he normally plays on the right.
No,
but all three of them can play on the right.
Yeah, I think he does, you know.
But I'm just saying Harvey.
Salah's been starting on the right.
No, but whenever I've seen Harvey Elliott have a good game, he seems to be playing off the right side where Salah's playing.
He plays centre mid, and then he drifts onto right the same way Henderson does that as well. So he's always played centre mid this season. But he's only played. That's the first time he's played in an attacking position. Remember, you were saying that. So in the
for Liverpool, that's the first time he's played in the.
That's the first time he's played in the front three.
for Liverpool
in the FA Cup game against Wolves and the Chelsea game in the Premier League.
But I'm just saying that typically you would normally see him on the right if you are playing in the front.
Right side of the centre midfield.
So, okay,
Right side of a three.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're being a bit pedantic here, but
No. Because I'm
just thinking. Obviously, you've got your three guys. You're trying to make that thing work. Gakpo, he normally he excels playing on
From the right.
From the right.
So all three of them excel from the right. So
Yeah.
they had to be positioned.
Gakpo-
Like,
Gakpo from the left.
So wouldn't
no,
but
Gakpo's from the right.
Gakpo's from the right.
Salah's from the right.
And
Harvey Elliott's from
but
the
he
right.
also plays on the left.
But his best is from the right.
Yeah. But then Noni Maduaka was playing on the right.
Yeah.
but you've also seen Salah.
Maduaka plays on the left.
He's playing on the right when I saw him.
Are you sure? Maduaka, the one that Chelsea signed, I'm sure he plays on the left.
No, he plays on the right.
I thought he played on the right. Yeah.
Yeah, but Salah can also play up top. Like he's done centre forward. So for me, I'm not.
But he's playing against Thiago Silva and Koulibaly. So these are.
I just feel like the best way to put those three together would have been.
You know what? What I will say is that it's a great thing that you're not the manager of Liverpool.
Yeah, no,
I think we should leave it at that.
I don't think.
I know you want to wrap up.
I don't think you can just leave it at that because obviously you've made a point of saying that Gakpo's been out of position, and I'm just saying that it's not. He is. I agree, but I'm just saying. That's Klopp, and obviously we had a little bit of a segment last week where we were talking on Klopp.
Do you think Salah should be played out of position so that Gakpo can play?
Salah can go up top.
That's not his position.
Yeah, that's out of position.
If you was asking me, if you was asking me, Salah would have been up top because that's his subsidiary position. I would have put Gakpo.
It's not.
All right, cool.
Gakpo's played more up top.
We can agree to disagree.
I know.
We can agree to
They're all playing that position.
We spent too long on Liverpool, so before we
Can
move
I
on.
ask one question to the Arsenal fans, please, first?
Actually, no, I'm lying. I wouldn't have put Gakpo on the right. I'd have put Gakpo on the left, and then I would have put Harvey Elliott on the right.
All right, wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap that, man.
Mudryk, what do you think?
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He came on and he kind of reminded me of Hazard. I can't lie.
Yeah.
When he first came to Chelsea and he was just in and out of players, kind of.
I wouldn't say Hazard.
He had a good cameo.
He passed the eye test with flying colours.
Yeah. I'd say what you're saying is probably in terms of the eye test and the wow factor, he's definitely got that kind of Hazard feel. He doesn't play like Hazard, but
he doesn't play like Hazard. But I'm saying, when Hazard first came to Chelsea, we were like, he was doing his bit, his thing.
More Iron Robin for me.
You think?
Yeah, as soon as he got in the ball and he done that big touch,
seems
I thought this guy's going to try and run onto that.
He's a good player. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at the fact that
you owe me an apology, bro.
I do owe you an apology still because I wasn't anticipating that. But I think when I was talking about Mudryk, I think more so than anything, my Arsenal hater switch was probably in a setting of 89% when it should have been like 40%. It
bees like that sometimes.
It definitely bees like that. He's a player. Now that he's not gone Arsenal, I can say it. He's a player.
He's going to be good there.
We know Arsenal's scouting team is kind of almost second to none.
I think Chelsea might be
Brighton
the best because they actually
like
scouted him as well and got him.
Bro, Chelsea's scouting team is great because we've discussed this. They look at what Arsenal's doing, they copy their papers, and then they crack on with it.
Hey, listen, that's how I got my degree at uni, bro. Don't knock it till you tried it.
Listen, you know what my mate said? I was in a WhatsApp group with one of my friends, and he said Chelsea actually did the Premier League a solid here, and I agree with him. In stealing Mudryk, they stopped Arsenal potentially from winning the league outright. Someone talk to me because if that dude,
I don't think so,
bro. If that dude,
bro, I don't think.
From what we saw, that little,
I am pleased he hasn't gone to Arsenal.
That dude was in Arsenal's team,
but I don't think he would have made a difference.
Yeah,
I think you lot.
And let's be real, guys. He's only played 20 minutes. Like,
exactly.
And
just fully assess him after.
Or 24 minutes. And my thing is, like, I won't get too excited. And even if he had a bad game, I wouldn't discredit him because we need to give him time.
And he hasn't played since November.
He came across and he looked good
with flying colours. If I'm going to be,
he did look good, but like as I said, I think we probably need to be giving him. You need to see him a bit more. And like when I watched him before, I actually said he reminds me of a Ukrainian version of Harvey Barnes. And I know that might be a bit extreme.
That's disrespectful.
But I need to see a bit more.
I need to see his finishing.
Yeah,
because it was good in the Champions League because that's all I saw of him. But I would like to see him in the Premier League because. It's a tough game, man. Alisson's a tough keeper to
I definitely went on YouTube after watching the game just to see what he's actually all about when he's finishing. Whether he's hitting top bins from that 20 yards.
He's good, but we need to see more.
Yeah.
So is Nunes.
But I would say
coming for him.
One thing I would say is Gakpo. I'd again just he needs time, and I wouldn't be judging him on that. And to be fair, just quickly, just to end it, I think Nunes and Gakpo, I think that will work personally.
Okay.
What, together?
Yeah. Like, not obviously they're not going to play exactly together, but I'm saying that combination. No, I see some. I can see it happening. To be fair, obviously Liverpool need to address the midfield first, but I can see it happening.
For sure.
So
Kodak Black.
as we slowly move our way up to the main event, another feature of the undercard. Let's quickly talk about the Palace and United game. What was your thoughts? I'll start with you, Mars.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got the main talking point is the Casemiro yellow card. I think the approach to the game for Ten Hag, obviously everyone was saying that maybe you shouldn't start Casemiro considering this Crystal Palace team had an important game against Arsenal. But I think ultimately you play your best team. My view is you play your best team until you can't. So yeah, with that considered. Yeah, Casemiro had to start. What I would say is that Bruno Fernandes stitched him up though.
He was fuming.
Yeah, absolutely fuming with the pass, like it, and yeah, the look that Casemiro gave Bruno afterwards was pretty telling. I mean, the game was as I anticipated it would be, being that Crystal Palace seemed to be everyone's bogey team. But I think 1-0 leading into the 90th minute, you would hope to see that game out. But it just so happened that there was a moment of magic from Elise.
But on the subject of Casemiro, fair enough, I think it was right for him to start. But do you think when you was winning 1-0, I think he had 10 minutes ago, he
should have been subbed? I was going to interrupt. I didn't want to interrupt Marlon, but I would have said, because I was at that game, and when I saw McTominay getting ready, I was like, right, yeah, Casemiro's coming off, and I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine margins. I think at 1-0, and you probably view the way the game's going. You don't anticipate that turn of events is going to happen, whereby Casemiro is going to get a yellow card. Because
why don't you? Because I anticipated it. I called it before the game that Zaha was going to draw him out and get a yellow. I actually called it.
But technically, if everyone was doing their job, and again, I put it back to Bruno Fernandes and actually stitching him up. I think if everyone's doing their job appropriately, Casemiro doesn't get that card.
Yeah, and I'll just say in that game, Fernandes and a few others, they were trying these little flicks.
Yeah, and
just keep it simple.
In that period of the game, you kind of there's a level of professionalism that I think you need to apply. And we're obviously going to go into the Arsenal game, but I think there's in the last week or so lessons will have been learnt.
Definitely,
I think we've definitely struggled in the fact that we've had so many games back to back as well, because you could see that the tempo of the game in the Crystal Palace game was we wasn't pressing as hard. Pause.
Sorry, quick question. But obviously we're talking about Fernandes and all the other guys doing flicks and stuff. But did Casemiro have to make that challenge?
He didn't have to make that challenge, but again, knowing his kind of player, I think there's a lot of players. I think Partey makes that challenge. I think Rodri makes that challenge.
But knowing that you're gonna miss the next game,
yeah,
he definitely knew that, because as soon as
I think he's just thinking about winning.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
think he's caring about missing a game.
100%.
You don't think he was thinking about missing a game?
Yeah, because when you're playing on a yellow challenge, when you've got a yellow card, you kind of know that if you do another reckless challenge, you're going to get sent off. So he definitely came into that game knowing that if he gets a yellow card, he's going to miss the next game. So that's what I don't get. How did he have head loss like that?
I think it was just a split second.
It wasn't a head loss. He got put in a mad position by
I think that's head loss.
I think if he had a yellow as in yellow card proceeding to a red, I don't think he makes that challenge.
Do you not think that's head loss? Because you know that the next game, like for example,
it's instinct.
Champions League.
It's instinct, man.
You know what? You're right. It happens.
Yeah,
it's not head loss. It's not head loss, but I do think that we do. Sometimes we make too many mistakes for players. Like I know what Marley Miles alluding to with the whole Bruno thing, but I think you're better players. Sometimes you go on the pitch and you're expected to manage yourselves. You're world-class players, allegedly, right? So you should be able to be trusted by your manager, given a nod. Listen, mate, you know what it means to you if you go and get yourself a yellow card, what have you not. Manage yourself, manage the game. But then there is also an element that there's an element of responsibility that needs to be put back onto Ten Hag. I've always said that I respect what Ten Hag is doing, what have you not, but I do sometimes question some of the decisions that he makes. Like, for instance, I feel like he potentially could have made a substitution for Casemiro and probably brought McTominay in a little bit earlier, because I feel like, no disrespect to Crystal Palace, But I just feel like McTominay has got the tools within him to manage that game for 20 minutes of the game.
I would disagree with that, and I mean we're going to segue into the.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah,
that was one of my main talking points that I was actually going to bring up, even with the Arsenal game, is I feel that Teng's decisions to not sub the right players on and off has cost him
in general.
These last 2 games,
Okay,
especially.
So I mean, there are like. Yeah, you could argue that there is a tactical naivety to him, but I mean, you can cut him some slack because he's been at the club for not long. It's been 6 months into the Prem League.
Yeah.
Where are we? Call
it 6 months.
Yeah. So you can cut him some slack there, but
he's not an inexperienced manager. Though.
He's not an inexperienced manager, but in any new club, any new situation that you come to, you still find your feet. Do you get what I mean? And I think we have to be careful when we'll go into it a little bit more, but we do have to be careful when we're just even talking about like new managers and etc. Because obviously Ten Hag's doing a brilliant job with Man United, but this job is, and he's doing very well for what he's done so far, but this job is going to be measured across 2, 3, 4 seasons, as we've seen with like the likes of, let's say, Mikel Arteta, for instance. So I just feel like now, these little decisions here, I feel like we do have to take note of them, because I feel it was naive of him. You have to take note of him, and I hope that he like can self-reflect and be like, you know what, potentially he could have managed that a little bit differently, and you could have come away with all 3 points there, and you could have made that Arsenal game a lot different.
I agree.
But that's not absolving Casemiro from his responsibility.
No,
I think top class
course.
players need to be expected to manage themselves.
But the fact that Scott McTominay came on before he got the yellow card is my main point. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I saw that sub happening, I was like, cool. Yeah. We've actually got a manager here that knows, let's sub him off. There's a game coming up. We've got a lot of games in quick succession as well.
Right.
And we'll bring him off. But then it was like, he's bringing off Anthony for Scott McTominay. And it was confusing.
He's probably like me, and he's tired of Anthony.
Yeah, let's proceed into the Arsenal game.
So obviously, so going into that Palace game, you was hoping for a win, I imagine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
So after back of drawing, how did you feel going into the United game, and especially going to the United game without Casemiro?
The Arsenal game.
The Arsenal game. And before you answer the question, where did you watch the game, Oz?
I was at the Emirates. Second time this season. They're doing special things over there, man. I'll be honest. Yeah.
So when you went there, how did it feel being able to go and see your club just by catching a train without having to pre-book it and pre-book a hotel? Did it feel?
No, don't answer that.
I mean, well, as I said, Palace is my second team, so I'm able to, get out of my bed and walk down the road to go to Selhurst Park every now and again. So that's a good feeling. But yeah, I mean, it's and the thing is, I didn't realise it's actually one straight train from Norwood Junction to Emirates Stadium, like a 15-minute walk. Yeah,
East London,
hybrid, isn't it? Yeah,
East London line, right? It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Oh, the old East London line.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good little journey. But yeah, it was good to see the boys. This season, I try and see them, once every season, just to see
in London,
wherever it may be.
At least you guys see them, right?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Wherever it may be.
Yes, I know. So going into that game now, like, did you have any issues with that starting lineup?
Do you know what? I've got to a point where I actually trust Ten Hag in his decision making so much that. I see these lineups, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense to me, but I'm not even questioning it, because for the first time in a long time, I feel confident that we've got a manager that knows ball. Like he knows it more so than my uneducated self would know it. So I don't even try and question what he does more time. It's only when, obviously in hindsight, when you see how the game transpires, you then make a decision on maybe he shouldn't have done X, Y, Z. And I didn't have that many issues seeing a starting lineup initially, but yeah, after the game, I've got a bit to say. So
yeah, what do you have?
So I've got an issue with at the minute Weghorst, who's I'm not going to insult him because we've still got a whole season. He actually might start scoring, but at the minute I'm concerned I don't think he's had a shot on target.
But do you think he was brought in to score goals or just to be a link?
He contributed for that goal.
Guys,
This is what
He
people.
did.
This is what people keep saying, but I think it's cap.
He dragged players out of the way for.
I think it's cap. It's a
But
clutch.
MJ, what would
Dre, just pause just 1 second. I just need to take in what Marley Ball was saying, because last week this guy was giving us.
What did I say?
I'm just trying to the contrast.
What did I say?
Sorry, you continue, Marley Ball. I just needed to register. what's going on.
Have you got receipts of what I said? Because I can't remember.
I'm just going to listen to the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, on Weghurst, like I think Martial just needs to get his life together so we don't have to see him as much as we currently see him. So that's two games in a row now that he hasn't. And when I say shot on target might be, you might even consider that a little bit difficult. He hasn't had a shot on goal.
United only had 5 shots on goal in that game.
In Arsenal's game.
Yeah.
What about the game before?
I don't know.
at Palace, he had
point,
that one header but off target.
My point, I haven't seen him lace the ball at the goal, and I mean,
Give him time.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to be on to him too much, but I'm saying, like, as I watched him and his movement in the game against Arsenal, I think I'm going to say he seems off the pace, and I can't even say that he hasn't had match practice because he was scoring goals in Turkey. So, I mean, I was watching the game thinking, what kind of conditions does he need to actually have a good game? Like, and if it's not at set pieces, I'm not too sure what he will do. His build up play is all right, but I think we need more than that, because effectively what you can do is this is outlandish, but you could play Scott McTominay in the same position. He would do exactly the same thing.
Is he like a kind of like a layoff target man, or
that's what it would appear to. That's what it would appear to be.
You didn't really put the ball in.
No, that's what I was going to say. We're not playing to his strengths, but I get what Marlon's saying as well. It's because, like, if you're going to do that, you then put Maguire up. It's like stupid like that.
No, exactly. Like, because
he strikes me as like a last 10 minutes or
definitely.
I respectfully, he's not it. That's what is not in it. I'm encouraged to the fact that he's obviously a loan signing more than anything else, and he's probably bought because Martial is injured that much 100%. That you need another option. But a long term, I hope they're working in the background and trying to find someone else.
Yeah.
Doesn't that go back to what Strive said last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, about 10 not being able to sign out of his phone book? Does that start to ring true a bit now? Then
I mean, he's coached him before. I'm just going to absorb that. I'm not going to respond to it like you want me to respond to it.
That is fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he's coached him before, so I think there's obviously a comfortability with him there. But yeah, ultimately, it's obviously it's January, innit? So, and I don't think we've got that much piece to spend, and he was available, so you kind of bring him in. But I don't think he's it long term.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dre, moving on to you, do you think, because like for Ten Hag, do you question any of his in-game management for that game yesterday?
In-game management? No, I think I personally think they had it right, and from the first half, I think we done well, and in the second half, I think that the games that we played started to come into fruition in terms of I think they were getting tired, especially with Eriksen in there, and this is why I was saying to Striver before that this is where 10 needs to be going right. This is where I need to utilise my subs, and for me, like even at Palace, we brought on Garnacho. It was like a totally like different game because the guy was picking up the ball, running, getting in behind, and he didn't even get on the pitch to get onto this game when I'm seeing Anthony run through, and then Partey's coming and just taking the ball off him, and I'm like,
bro,
what's going on here?
That was crazy. It's like Partey.
I thought, do you see how quick he ran to just pick him up?
I don't know. Was Partey running quick or was Anthony running in slow motion?
I just don't think he knew where he was going.
He's a comedian.
Anthony's not suited for the camera.
Sorry, how long have we got to cover this section?
I've got a lot of talking points.
I've got loads of requests, and they're coming in as we speak. And the first request was to talk about Anthony.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
I don't want to be the guy to talk about it. I want Man United fans to talk about it.
We're gonna get there.
What's your view on Casemiro not starting? Do you think that had a big bearing on the game?
No, because I think we started all right. So I think, like you, I think that's the team he's put out. Cool, we go with it. But again, when you start seeing things are like, you're coming under the cosh. 10 needs to be going, right, we might need to switch things up a little bit here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what's cost us.
I would actually say Casemiro not being in that game had a massive effect on the game, because obviously we paid McTominay, who's
He's no real replacement for him.
He's no real replacement, and also I don't think he understands if he's a DM. Like he's supposed to be a DM, but a lot of the time he's in the game and he's almost playing like a false nine. Is that far high up?
So he's just hiding.
He's either hiding, or I think he's got a thirst for goals or contributing in an attacking phase. But comparing him to Casemiro, I've seen Casemiro. Yeah, sometimes he's in between the centre backs, and it's like, has Ten moved him into a centre back to make it a back three? That's not the case. He's got such defensive mentality that he understands that he needs to be in a certain position in the pitch. That's not glamorous.
That's his like. What party he gets from scoring goals, I think that's what he gets from from
defending,
breaking up plays.
Yeah, but he's absolutely amazing, and I think after yesterday, it just shows how much of a DM we were missing for time, because obviously we had McFred for God knows how long, and neither
man said McFred,
McFred, didn't it?
Yeah. Deadly combo,
McFred
in a bad way.
And neither of them have the defensive nous effectively to go across 90 minutes and say, I'm just trying to shut down this game. And Casemiro has been refreshing in the fact that he's come and he's provided something that we haven't had in a while. We missed him, man.
I think with every game that you haven't played with Casemiro, you've conceded 2 goals or more on average.
Yeah,
I think
not surprising.
I saw already stat to that effect.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Before I move on to Strive, because he's patiently waiting.
Release the hounds.
Just wanted to ask a question. Obviously, we're getting some listeners' questions. Anthony, can we just quickly speak on Anthony? Is he worth the price tag?
Oh,
is he Premiership ready?
At the minute,
you believed him at the start.
Sorry. Before you think, I just googled him, and Wikipedia, his page says his name is Anthony Mateus Pepinos dos Santos, so he may be of relation to Pepe from Arsenal. So would you like to address that?
That's rude to Pepe, by the way.
I know it is.
That's very rude to Pepe.
Pepe's been a lot better.
Pepe has been a lot better. What I would say is, it's early doors. He's come from a different league, and I compare him to other wingers that might be similar in terms of, they've come into the team, they haven't lit up in the first few months, and then they've exploded. I would use Real Madrid's winger as a
which one?
The Brazilian one.
Rodrigo.
Not Rodrigo.
Vinicius.
There you go. Vinicius Junior. He came in. He had Benzema saying that he's coming to sabotage the team, and all of a sudden he's now the one of the go-to guys.
But the thing with Anthony, what do you see? For you to believe that he may come good.
Do you know what is with Anthony? He does the main issue with Anthony at the minute. He
rolls the ball on
he's doing the simple things wrong. Like he's overcomplicating the simple things. And the simple things might be
Ronaldo first came.
Yes, exactly. But I think obviously he hasn't got the Roy Keanes or the Rio Ferdinands around him to say that this is what you need to be doing. But I think it will come.
I do like that he always tries to go at his man.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't.
It
doesn't, bro.
Is that because?
Nah, bro, he doesn't do that at all. That's the one complaint I'd have with him.
Is that because of the game of the Europa League where he didn't skill?
No. Honestly,
he doesn't do that. He goes back. He gets there. He goes wide.
Not always.
He takes on his players.
Majority of the time,
and then he gets kind of clamped.
Yeah, not always. I
thought he does, bro.
I'm with you because that's the criticism everyone keeps on saying. He's not trying to take on his man, but I've seen him do it a couple of times. But the thing is, it hasn't worked as much as you'd anticipated working in that, and I think that's because he's. But there was one time, like that he was through on the wing, and it was literally a foot race with, it must have been Zinchenko maybe, and he was running out
yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He tripped over his own feet.
But that was against Partey.
Was it Partey?
Yeah.
He tripped over his own feet, and I remember, like, I was in the stands. I just looked at my boy. I was like, "Are we seeing what we're seeing?"
When it rains, it pours.
When it rains.
But this is what I'm saying, MJ. Why didn't he bring Garnacho on? Why?
Yeah.
This is what baffles me. It's like, cool. You've had your number one that you've got faith in, that you've brought to the club, and you've basically told him in his contract that he's got to start every game, because otherwise it's ludicrous in my mind.
Anthony, you think that's in his contract?
No, I'm just saying that in terms of, because I know it's 10 in it.
Yeah.
and he's brought him in. So
No, I think it's just a price tag, really.
Yeah, it's
that's not even that, bro. Because 10, he said before, if you're not playing well, he's ready to take you out. He's taking Maguire out. Do you see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say
But the thing is, though, I think there is a pressure on Ten Hag to kind of make sure Anthony works because of that price tag associated to him. Because if you think about it, actually, Del Estrada, I don't know if he said it on podcast Pundits, but I've heard Del Estrada say that even when Anthony scored that goal at Old Trafford against Arsenal, he did that, but you couldn't actually see what he was giving Manchester United or what threat he would pose moving forward.
Yeah.
And ever since then, you struggle to see it. And
he just scores the odd goal here and there.
But I posed that question previously. As a forward, if you're scoring goals, are you not having an okay game? Are you not doing what you're on the pitch to do?
Of course, like the output of being a forward.
50-50.
Yeah, it's like 50-50,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I get that, but then he hasn't been pulling up trees to that effect where you can rebut with that. You get what I'm saying? My thing here with Anthony is he doesn't, like, contrary to what Joey said, he doesn't go at his play. He doesn't beat men. However, pause. But Ajax, you saw that. You saw it. You saw him beating play. So obviously, if I was a United fan, there would be like a shred of hope. Like, I saw this guy.
Yeah, he used to do it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Therefore, he could potentially come good for United.
Don't you think it's a confidence thing? Because remember he did that in the European League and then everybody was onto him, bro, when he done one.
No, but he was like that from the start for me. He's always been like that.
Yeah.
But since that Europa game, I haven't really seen him try to bring out any special dunk.
In the Arsenal game, he tried to flick the ball over Xhaka. He's still got confidence. He's just not...
Okay, fair enough.
What I would say with Anthony, I've seen enough of the fundamentals in his ability to say that he can be a success, but he's not. At the minute, he's not applying it in the right way in games. And I think that comes.
He's not cack because you watch him and you're like, okay, you're not cack. Like,
but you're just making a lot of the wrong decisions. And I think
if he'd done the basics well, then
he would be all right. That's what I'm saying. Give him 6 months, and hopefully with 10 seems like a competent enough manager where he's going to start telling him the stuff that he needs to do in games, or he might just naturally adapt in his games. It should be all right.
Bro, if he continues like that, he needs to go and do one-on-one training
All right.
in Holland or something.
Sound the alarm. Bring out the big dogs.
So yeah, before you speak on the game, Strides, is there any hold tight soccer moms you want to shout out?
Wow.
Put it on.
I was not expecting that.
Isn't it? Jeez Louise.
They didn't want to give you a guard of honor, so do what you need to do, bro.
You know what, if I didn't know these guys' mothers, they'd be in the firing line.
My mum will fuck you up. I'll play this back to her. She'll fuck you up.
And I believe that with every fibre in my heart. So Mummy Jeffers, she's good. Yeah, but her son now.
Fuck it now.
No, listen, I don't know if I have been any more confident about a fixture ever. And like I was having pep talks with fellow Gooners. Like, there was anxiousness, there was nervousness amongst the camp. But you see, with me, I was always saying what was going to happen was going to happen. However, I will caveat that I expected total domination, and United have done extremely well to kind of to actually raise my impression of them, because they actually went toe to toe with Arsenal at the Emirates without Casemiro, and Ten Hag is learning on the job, as much as I've got some criticisms for him.
When you said total domination, I just wanted to just let you know that Arsenal had 25 attempts to United 6, and they had an XG of 2.93 versus
don't worry, bro.
Man United 0.3.
No, but what
total domination?
But the shots on target though wasn't.
Yeah,
no, 5-4.
When I was watching the game, and there was having a lot of chances, as in shots on goal, but it wasn't anything to be threatened.
About that.
And
I agree.
I'm not even
But the
capping
XG said 2.93, so that means expected
What does
goals.
XG actually mean?
Good scoring opportunities. That's what I think it is.
I think the XGs was in the threes, actually, from what I saw.
Yeah,
but
if
maybe
you round up, it's 2.93.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Fugazi.
But I agree with what Dan's saying, is that I, for one, was expecting Arsenal to dominate like they normally do, like complete domination where it's like, back in the day.
Oh, now you were, yeah. It's easy to say after the fact.
Yeah. To your point, that's one company. Obviously, it's negging to get the L, and you come and obviously be calling me an hour and after the game, expecting me to answer and have a conversation. You're a hater, but as a United fan, there's positive to take from the game. Like United we're looking better on the ball as well. Like we're controlling games more than we used to.
Hey! Huh? We had a lot of segment on my.
Sorry. I got to defend my boys, innit?
Question for De La Strada and Strives. Obviously, like you said, you expected total domination. I'm not sure what you expected, but does that you said that raises your estimation of United? Does that lower yours of Arsenal on the day, or was it just the occasion getting to everybody?
So you know why it doesn't lower my of Arsenal on the day? Because when you don't expect something, what I've normally come to realise, or I'll come to expect of Arsenal, if we don't expect something, or something comes to us unannounced or unexpected, we've got that apple crumble in us. Do you get what I mean?
Expand on apple crumble.
So, like...
Yeah, I was baffled about that one still.
Okay, so...
That's a new one.
Sometimes you got to make some new stuff up. But anyway, so like, Rashford has come in with that decent, that's cracking strike.
Are you explaining the apple crumble?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. You're coming in with that cracking strike, and then you're all of a sudden, you're 1-0 down. You know what I mean? Potentially, Arsenal could have literally let that occasion dwarf them now, and we're like, oh shit, we're in panic mode. And then you can go 2-0 down, 3-0 down. Like what happened when we were meant to beat Spurs last season? Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, so nothing to do with apple crumble.
Yeah, I was
baffled about that. Can't lie.
So you mean it crumbled?
As you crumbled.
So don't eat the apple.
Bloody hell.
Sorry.
Have you ever eaten apple crumble before?
You made me hungry. You made me hungry.
Have you seen what apple crumble?
Listen, you got to crumble the hard top before you get into that.
So, but it had to be apple crumble.
Oh my God.
Continue.
As you were.
Where did the custard come into it?
Was I say it again?
No, nothing. Go and carry on.
We digress. So anyway, I don't even know where we are. So I need to start from the top anyway, because I just want to say F every single United fan that ever thought they could come to the Emirates and get anything from this result. I had a link up scheduled with a couple of fellas, Manchester United fans. Only one turned up. Big you up, bro. Big you up, because you turned up even though you knew what was going to happen.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
I'm
particularly no, stop it.
I am not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my listeners. Yeah, I ain't talking to you, and I don't want to hear from you.
I'm not having it.
I told Marley Marl to link up with me. He had a very good excuse. He said he's going to the Emirates. I said, you know what, mate? I'm jealous of you, pal. But are you sure you want to do that? Give me the ticket, because what you're about to witness is going to destroy your soul. I tried to call my friend an hour and a half later. He refused to pick up the call.
I did.
Rightly so.
I saw it ringing. I saw it ringing when I was driving. I was like, nope.
What is, in terms of like the way you guys kind of like, I don't want to say nicked it, but you kind of, well,
definitely
Saka was on fire, but you guys got
Man said definitely nicked it.
You guys got the goal at the end, and you were good for the goal as well. So what does that say about your mentality? Because obviously my big thing is like being tested and showing new things and Arteta learning as well on the job. So like what kind of lessons do you take from that game that you think you can kind of apply to other games, and you can say, yeah, okay, cool, well, I can see that Arsenal have learnt this, or Arsenal are now capable of doing this?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, Joey, and I'm happy that you asked that, because I think Manchester United are inadvertently setting us up for what could be a title winning season. Because in the first game where VAR and the referee assisted them, obviously there was a naivety in our play where Arteta had to obviously go back to the drawing board and be like, look, when you go 1-0 down against United, and then you plug it back to 1-1, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh my God, everything's on your side. You still have to have a caution in your play. You still have to respect the opponents. And you could see that in his approach to the games moving afterwards. Now, United came to Emirates yesterday, and they played. let's give them a little bit of credit here, which is why I'm giving Ed Ten Hag some credit. Like, they tried to play out from the back. They tried to do everything that Arsenal did, but just not as good as us, because they're just not as good as us. But you could see that they actually played, and what that does is that sets you up for the likes of your Manchester Cities, who aren't going to come and set up a low block against you. They're going to come and play. So Manchester United, both times, have actually set us up for the rest of the season, because to go 1-0 down, then to go 1-1, then to go 2-1 up, and then for them to come back at 2-2, that is you're testing your mental resolve. You know what I mean? So I feel like Manchester United, like for what it's worth, they gave a very decent account of themselves. They should be proud of themselves. They went to top of the league, the best team in the Premiership, and they gave it a good go. And what Arsenal can take from that now is, you now know that you're going to have teams that just set up defensively, negatively, and try to stop you playing. And you're also going to have teams that actually fancy it. And they've proven to themselves, those Arsenal players, the coaches, everything, that we actually have an answer for various styles of play. You might be able to do it.
Yeah, Arsenal's mentality at the minute, and I will be honest. Like, I've been very, very. I've said some nice things about Arsenal over this weekend, particularly because they beat us. But also, when you're actually in the stadium and you're soaking it up, what Arteta is actually doing over there is very, very special. Even like to the point where, like, the yellow card that he got. When I tell you, like, everything he does seems to be very, very methodical, in the sense that he's trying to get the fans, like, amped up. There was a point where Trossard was on the sidelines, get ready to come on, and you saw Odegaard go to the Arsenal fans and started clapping and telling them to start, like, make noise kind of thing, innit? And I tell you what, that stadium, it's manic. It's absolutely manic, and I'll compare it to.
I've never heard that Emirates being described in that way.
The last couple of seasons.
It's absolutely man. And I'll compare
since Arteta.
Since Arteta, and I'll compare it to OT. I've been to
another dead stadium though.
It's a dead stadium, but so I've been to Man United, Arsenal, for instance, and that's one of the games where you anticipate the noise.
We went to the 8-2, wasn't it, Mon?
Yeah, the 8-2, but I don't want to say the score. Huh?
Lived in the past, eh?
But it was 8.
It was 8-2. We were there.
It was 8.
What happened yesterday?
When you had a strong hairline.
All right, guys, just listen.
You know what's crazy about that 8-2? That 8-2 catalyzed the process of bringing Mikel Arteta to the club, which has fast forwarded us to this moment that we're discussing now, where you got that Holy Ghost squeeze the toe smoke. Yeah. So let's not talk about 8-2.
Well, I don't know about squeeze the toast, bro.
Hey, what I'm saying to you,
it wasn't squeeze the toast.
8-2 on my moment. Yeah. Don't you ever mention on my moment again.
The point I'm making is Arteta's doing something special over at the Emirates at the minute, and the stadium is a problem to go to for any team right now. It's absolutely mental.
So just another follow-up question. Obviously you got Man City on Friday.
You know what? Yeah, sorry, Joe, man. You keep interrupting me with questions. Are you the host or not? Let me. Just, no,
I put the same thing.
Shut your bloody mouth. I want to talk. No, shut your mouth. I want to talk. Every time I'm trying to talk,
Liverpool, he hasn't got much to say about Liverpool, so let him go. Jules, answer away.
What is wrong with this dude?
Let him ask.
Do you know what this guy?
This is your last question.
Joey, 1 second. Look at me.
He said this needs to be less of a beef podcast. We need to start analysing the games, and we need to start talking football. I'm trying to talk football, and this guy's shooting at me, bro.
Joey, yellow card, mate. Just be quiet.
A white card.
A white card. Alright, so this is my last question because I'm going to respect the Arsenal fans.
I just want a monologue. That's all. One monologue.
You got your monologue, but I'm just saying in terms of like the actual football. How does this kind of set you up going forward to your game on Friday? Because it's a huge game on Friday.
But that's FA Cup, though, right?
It is a FA Cup. It is like Joey's right there. It is a very, very important game because Pep Guardiola has been on one, and I know I hope we're gonna touch on that. He's been on one, and he's been trying to work mental on the whole Premier League, especially Mikel Arteta and especially Arsenal, and. Obviously, the way that they came back against Tottenham after going 2-0 down and winning.
Everyone keeps talking about mind games. When you say mind games, like what do you mean,
bro? I feel like it's 101s in psychology. If you're a bit rattled or about something, you always kind of bring attention to it, either inadvertently or on purpose. And sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. Every moment you're speaking about Arsenal this, they're better than us. If we play like this against them, it's like you're trying to put pressure. You're trying to get the media to turn your attention onto Arsenal, and each time ask a question: can you rise to this? And then let's have it right. Manchester City had the opportunity to go within 2 points of us because of the way that the fixtures were set up. And old Arsenal may have crumbled because you're like, oh my God, like they're catching us. Can we deal with this? And he's purposely trying to put us in that position. And each time we're going, and we're answering the questions every single time. And I think now, coming on to Joey's question, you've now got the chance to shut your mouth, stop going on to your press conferences and talking about us. Do your job. Stop us.
But
and I'm sorry, Del Estrada, sorry to cut you there.
You're talking about his uncle, you know.
A lot of people, a lot of people keep on saying, you've still got to play Man City twice. Granted, they still got to play Arsenal twice. Put some respect on Arsenal's name immediately, because you've got to play Arsenal twice as well. And like I said not that long ago, Manchester United came and played football against Arsenal, and Manchester United are a good football inside. You can finally see transitions, you can see pattern of play, you can see what Ten Hag's doing.
He's trying.
You understand?
Trying his thing.
And that's a good football inside. Let's just have it right. They've beaten Man City, whether VAR helped them or not. They've beaten Man City. So if Arsenal can take what Manchester United brought at them, why can't we do it against?
It's going to be a great game. Man City is the final boss. They're the true test at the minute, because I don't think Gabriel and Saliba have actually faced a real striker.
I'll be honest with you. I think I'll pull it on wax.
I said it already.
They've got Haaland.
I said it already. I said
Gabriel's
going to shackle Haaland.
Listen,
if they cut the supply out, mate, they ain't no Haaland anyway.
Yeah. Because I think Saliba and Gabriel both have what it takes in terms of like the same ability.
Oh, they got everything.
The same attributes that VVD uses to shackle Haaland. Mm-hmm. I think they're capable of doing the same.
It's going to be interesting. Obviously,
and Gabriel's going to eat him.
That's the only thing you would say about Arsenal right now is have they faced a dude like that? So we'll see. We'll see what's there.
Like,
I think Arsenal are playing well enough whereby they can actually come through it. And as I said, I've been a hater on Arsenal for the majority of the season. But they're playing so well at the minute, and Nketiah is looking wavy. Yeah, so and Odegaard is in trouble.
I think
your defense is
this might be probably the worst podcast episode we've ever done. The energy in this room just stinks to high hell.
No, Strives. I was just going to say Ramsdale. He had a great game for you guys as well.
Yeah, he had that one error.
But come on, every goalkeeper's got an error. But
what error are you talking about?
The second goal.
The second goal, the corner in it.
Who had error?
Ramsdale.
But I'm saying, other than that, he saved you guys like with important saves. Like he done his job.
Yeah. Okay. So now let me just like my take on the game, because I don't think I've had the opportunity to.
Oh, goddamn.
I mean, you ain't.
Have I? I've been responding. I've been responding, but I don't think I've had the opportunity to go. But yeah. So okay. Okay, cool.
What was that? You've got 20 seconds.
No.
I got 21 seconds to go. But look, honestly, so obviously I've met up with a couple of the fellas, and obviously GZ was at the Emirates, and it was a massive game. It was a massive game. So obviously heading to the game, the feedback here, the feedback all week in regards to this game is: can Arsenal beat Manchester United? Can Arsenal answer the questions posed at them? Can Arsenal announce themselves as potential title challengers? Because in my opinion, after 19 games, it's too early to say that you are title challengers, isn't it? It's too early to say you're title challengers, but this game was the one to say, can you announce yourselves in this? We now come away from this game, obviously knowing the result of it, with 50 points. I'm going to give you guys something.
Really impressive.
50 points. Now, exactly. Like only 4 teams or so has bettered that at this point.
Yeah.
And most of them have gone on to win the league. One of them, Liverpool, failed one time, but then they've also won one time, the COVID season.
Won the Champions League that season as well.
Yeah, so, cool. We're not talking about you, bro. I'm telling my mum after this episode. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Gladys.
So, but yeah, so obviously now I'm like, I started thinking to myself, if we repeat what we did at the first half of the season, obviously that gives you a century of points. I don't see that happening. My target is 75 points, because then that's, you guarantee, in my opinion, top 3 with that.
Arsenal making me sick, man. Fucking say it with your chest, man. Like,
bro, like, you can say it with your chest all you like, but I'm just saying,
you lot are getting top 4. What's your next target?
So my target was 75 points, so we're 25 off of that.
Okay, what's next? I think he's asking.
Shut your mouth, please. Kindly. I'm talking. I'm just saying, we can afford, in my opinion, to lose 4 games and maybe draw 1. Yeah. So, and I say that because, let's say if we lose 4 games, what's that? 12 points?
You don't make me see. You're such cowards, man. Absolutely.
We can
cowards. You lot are paying well enough, right? You're
just say you want to win in the league.
You're in the
pole position.
You're favourites.
Yeah, that's right. Now. I'm gonna need you to wrap this up.
Let's knock it off.
But I'm saying, that I'm just, if me saying we can afford to probably lose about 4 games and draw 1, that's 13 points.
Okay.
So that would leave you with about 87 points, maybe?
Enough to win a title this season.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Potentially. So we are in the title race, but you can't call us favourites yet. You can't call us favourites
Stop
yet.
it, man.
You can't.
Why not? Why not?
You can't call us favourites.
Yeah, but why not?
Why not?
They are in the title race.
You can't call us favourites.
Why
Only
not favourites? Because Man City are the favourites
at the minute.
You think Man City are the favourites now?
They're only 5 points behind
who do you
Arsenal.
think
And Arsenal got a game in hand. We need to stop this, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's only a game in hand. If they win that game in hand, then it's a
So
different kettle of
basically,
fish.
they're always looking behind them instead of just, bro, you're at the top. Just
Go on.
Bro,
Where are you looking, bro?
After 19 games,
Where are you looking?
Coward, you
I know,
lot.
I'm
he
looking
has,
top
he has
3.
got a point because it's 19 games. But I want
Exactly.
who's your favourites?
the favourites would be Manchester City.
But when I said that at the start of the season, you was cussing me and saying, I don't know what everybody's saying, that Man City are the favourites. Why they're the favourites? Because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And I
No,
explained
that's
it.
not
But now that
Howard.
you've got 15 points ahead of them or whatever it is, you played 19 games, they're not they're now the favourites.
exactly.
You're confusing. You're confusing.
Roll on the next topic.
You're confusing Manchester City.
Yo, Strive.
You're confusing Manchester
next
City.
game. Next
I'm
game.
going to give you one more minute to wrap this up.
Okay, he's confusing
generous.
Manchester City
you
for
finished?
Liverpool, by the way,
Oh, is he
because
done?
we're 21 points ahead of Liverpool. We're not 15 points ahead of Man City. So just get your facts.
See, when you press
He just wasted 20 seconds.
Right.
He just wasted 20 seconds
Get your
there,
facts
bro.
right. Anyway, so obviously in the game, I think Del Estrada alluded to it. There was a mistake from Ramsdale. I felt he could have done better with that second goal. I feel like goalkeeper 101, get that ball out. It does. Tomiyasu,
he got cooked. He was getting cooked all game.
Yeah, he was.
bro.
He was, bro.
Tomiyasu was in the way, but I would have punched through Tomiyasu.
That wasn't Tomiyasu's fault.
I'm not saying it was Tomiyasu.
Rashford
That's what I'm saying.
Rashford had a good.
I'm saying that if I was Ramsdale,
Wrap it up, man.
Yeah.
Talk about Starboy.
I'm saying-
talk about Saka.
listen, you can't.
Yeah, Starboy.
Talk about Saka,
let me
man.
tell you,
Bucky, man.
You boys, let me tell you something. This is the highlight of this week's podcast. So when I'm talking about Arsenal Football Club, don't tell me to
Are we
wrap
going
it
to talk
up.
about City as well?
Yeah, we can talk about.
Yeah.
We can,
Security, man.
we can talk about
Security.
Hey, listen to this.
Single-handedly destroying the podcast.
Yeah, Shaz.
listen
I'm going to
to
give you one more minute.
No, man, you said that already.
You said that about 5 minutes ago, bro.
Don't interrupt him. 1 minute stops from now, please.
Del Estrada, thank
Cover
you,
this in 1
because
minute.
I've genuinely been interrupted. Scumbags. So yes, Ramsdale, I think he should have been done the better for that second goal. Like he should have punched through. Like, and Martinez should never have been on the receiving end of that.
Right header.
But yeah, like I think somebody mentioned it amongst all the like noise and hooliganism. Bukayo Saka.
Starboy.
Yeah, you know what Bukayo means in Yoruba? That's a Nigerian. It means adds to happiness. That guy has made my life so I'm so happy. Bukayo has been he's been a godsend to the club, and you know what I love about Bukayo Saka? He's got that Arsenal DNA in him, because obviously he's been with us since he was like 7, like when he came over to Arsenal. So
Can you elaborate on what the Arsenal DNA? What do you mean?
Please.
when I say the DNA of Arsenal, like, as in we hate. As much as we hate Spurs and stuff like that, but we actually hate Manchester United. Like, that rivalry is
true.
there. You know, we hate, and he embodied that. To score that banger and then do the Rashford celebration. And I was like,
He did do that, innit?
And then he nearly scored the same goal again.
And then,
he hit the post.
and then
he did do that. He did do
and then
that.
hit the post. That was like, Ruben,
When he done that celebration, I was like, "Oh my god, he's got this mean streak in him. This is
But you see that celebration, as you said, Dre, it's just
to
mental
do
health,
mental
right?
health,
So I don't
yeah.
think he wasn't.
They
Nah, I
say-
think,
they say mental-
he's definitely playing on Rashford
They say
for
mental.
that.
It's
Yeah.
like I'm focused, like
Yeah.
I'm switched on kind of thing. innit?
What, Sam, you thought that was just a coincidence?
No. I know.
I think
Eddie
Sam's
Nketiah's
trying to
done
say
it
it's
as
for
well.
both, innit? Like,
Yeah.
so he's taking a mick, but at the same time,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
listen, brilliant, because he looked after my mental health. I had a lot riding on that game, yeah?
At least you're honest.
Something on the Eddie as well, man.
Yeah, of course.
An apology. No.
you had a minute. You had a minute, bruv.
You
You
owe
had a
him an
minute.
apology, bro, as well.
We've moved on. What's wrong with this?
You owe him an apology. You said he's shit. Okay then. All right then. All right then.
Are we good?
All right then.
Or what? Are we lying on podcast?
No, you said he's shit, bro. You
Are
said
we
he's
lying?
not good enough to
Are
be
we-
at the club.
are we
You said
lying
that.
on-
When we said he was the best
All right, I'll
striker
put the sound
at Arsenal,
effects in.
you
I'll
said
put them in.
no.
So you know what happens, yeah? So this guy is obviously, he's underwhelmed from his El Midico game. This guy has come to the podcast to cap. What I've said about Eddie Nketiah is I was not sure, and you got to understand, Eddie Nketiah was deputising for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, whatever the dude's name is. I don't remember that guy no more. You know what he did?
That
Come on,
cat
let's try to
guy,
put it
man,
there.
waste of space.
But yeah, so obviously he's deputising for Aubameyang, and it's hard to obviously give somebody like that a chance when Aubameyang is there and he's scoring goals upon goals upon goals, and we've got the FA Cup.
You can't see me, but I'm playing my violin. I'm playing my violin.
No, because let's do some context in there. And then obviously you've got Jesus has come in, what have you not? Before actually Jesus came in,
Nketiah is better than Jesus now.
Nketiah started scoring some goals, and he earned himself the contract. I think he's on 100k a week or something like that now. He's got the 14 number. I was never one of those people that said don't get your bag. I was never one of those people that said you can't have the 14. I was just one of those people that said I think we should have more. We need something else. We got something else in the form of Gabby Jesus, and Gabby Jesus has been a godsend for the club. I've also said that Nketiah learns from people, whatnot. And I said that in his absence, when a lot of Manchester United fans were trolling and saying, oh, well, you got Eddie Nketiah, haven't you? Laughing and thinking Arsenal's demise was going to come because Jesus' absence. Nketiah has rose to the occasion. Eddie Nketiah Henry scored 2 goals against Manchester United. Who would have thought that? Would you have... Let me ask everybody. Let's go around the podcast table. Would you expected Jesus to score 2 goals against Manchester United?
Yes.
No.
He did it against Chelsea.
Yeah, I was going to put it in my team, but actually I genuinely
before
forgot to do it.
Right,
No. I'm talking about Gabby Jesus. Sorry.
Oh, Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe I don't know if I just said Nketiah.
No, you definitely said Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus has done it against Liverpool.
So I'm saying, would you have expected Jesus to score twice against Manchester United in that game?
Not Jesus, but I wouldn't expect Nketiah. Funny enough, like
Thank you. So
in
Eddie-
terms of a goal scorer, Nketiah is the guy. I'm more concerned about him in the team than.
Thank you. So my whole thing is Eddie Nketiah Henry is here to stay. He's like the rebirth of Ian Wright, even though I'm calling him.
Well, you're saying that now, though. You weren't saying that at the start of the season. That was the point I was making.
Bro,
because
like,
I
I
remember
can't-
the question. We were talking, and then somebody
what
said that
what
he's
did
your
I
club's
say?
best
Because you keep
striker.
telling me what I've been saying.
He said that the
coach
guy,
gave
the
him a
guy
minute,
was talking
you're
about
not
said
lying.
that he's your club's best striker, and you said no, he's not. And he was your club's best striker.
Yeah,
at the
so
time
his
when
agent,
Aubameyang left.
he's big up his agent. His agent said that he was the club's our club's best striker.
And he was.
And I all I said is based on what, and I said, and then I showed him the stats.
He said best finisher.
He said best striker.
No, he said best striker. And I said,
And he was as well.
And I said, based on what? And I showed him the stats. Now, if he makes such a statement, I can't say nothing, because guess what? Nketiah has scored 7 and 7. Yeah, he's got, I think, 18 goals out of his last 26 starts in all competitions, and 12 goals out of his last 13 starts at the Emirates. You can't chat to Eddie Nketiah.
I think you should be saying that to yourself.
No. I'm saying that. I'm saying that. I'm saying
That's the point that we were making.
We've had a very long segment on Arsenal. I gave you more than a minute.
Del Estrada, do we not deserve it?
Yeah.
we not
I've
do-
got my Arsenal top today, innit? So
Come on,
let me
bro.
move on to my other team, Man City. So obviously, let's try and do this very quickly. So, Spurs City, 2-0 Spurs, finished 4-2. Anyone want to quickly talk about that game before we actually talk about the Man City's recent game?
No surprise.
No surprise.
I think
No, it was a surprise.
Strives.
What, that Man City won?
Yeah, at half time, it definitely was a surprise.
Nah, come on, man.
It was 2-0 at half time, wasn't
If
it?
people thought that's...
Before the game, I thought Man City were gonna tear them apart.
Before the
When
game,
it-
but talking in game, like halfway through the game.
I know, but in my
mind.
mind, I thought, okay, I could see it's 2-0, but to finish 2-0, I could never see it.
I definitely
Maybe a draw.
I didn't think
Maybe
City
a
was
draw,
coming back.
but
I'll be honest.
not defeat.
not a 4-2, but I would say I weren't seeing Man City like lose it.
Because consider that literally before the game, that's when Pep was saying, I don't really care about the league anymore. So at 2-0 at half time, you think, oh, wow, he was serious about that kind of thing, innit? So to come back 4-2, impressive, very impressive.
I wouldn't be surprised if he kicked the boot at somebody's head like what he did.
Yeah,
to
definitely.
Beckham.
So not so much the game. I think that the biggest talking point was obviously what he said after the game when he gave the rallying cry. And so do we think that ignited the spirit of Haaland? Because obviously Haaland went yesterday and scored a hat-trick. Taking what's his tally against Nunez now?
Is he
25-5. Nunez has got 5.
That's personal.
That is personal. Well, let's talk on the viewers. Let's tell all the viewers about our bet.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that. Unless you do the guard of honor, because you're lacking honor for it.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So do we think? Obviously, City tend to do this annual thing where they go on beats and run. So do we think this is the start of what's to come?
I hope so.
No, do you know what? I would actually say I don't think they, in terms of Haaland anyway, I don't think I don't think he scored a hat-trick just yesterday or the day before. I don't think he's done anything different than he was doing before. I think but at the minute what's happening is the team actually finding him once again, because those games where he wasn't scoring, he was making the runs that he always does, but for some reason or another they would look for another pass instead of passing straight to Haaland. And I think at the minute, like, the route to success with Man City, whether we like to say it or not, is you got to go through Haaland. Like it's clear to see he's scoring goals at such a rate. It's just aggressive. Like
It's nice to see Mahrez back in the fold and kind of
he's doing well, man.
performing.
But I think it's annoying because, again, last week we covered this, that Liverpool and City have kind of changed their style of play. And Pep has consciously done this and gotten rid of players, as we said last week. But now the club aren't playing through that way that he's gone around and built. And he's doing this kind of tinker thing where we saw it against Liverpool, and we see he does it in the Champions League all the time, where he kind of overthinks things.
Yeah.
But again, when they go back to their style of play, which he's kind of tried to adopt this season, they've gone back to getting hat-tricks.
But it did come against Wolves. So obviously they've got Arsenal next. Fair enough, it's FA Cup. So I think it'll be a different game.
Against Tottenham as well. And before that, he'd been dry in it.
Yeah.
Because it was weird. The commentator was saying, this will give him the confidence to go and get goals again. My man's banging like fucking 150 goals.
it's a bit mad.
He's got 4 hat-tricks in one season alone, 25 goals in 19 games.
That's playing pro clubs. Playing pro clubs.
Haaland's a different kettle of fish, but
Definitely.
with Tottenham though, like just on that game, like I think Conte said this is the first time he's conceded 4 in one half, and he had like that nervous, embarrassed laughter. Like Tottenham as a club, I don't know where you go from here. Like they're experiencing an insane patch at the moment. At the beginning of the window, the Premier League, we were talking about. Tottenham were talking about they've won the window. Do you remember that, guys?
I was the advocate of that as well, to be fair.
You know what I mean? So you've won the window, and then to lose like that at the North London derby that you allegedly won the window, and then to go 2-0 up against Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean against City, and then lose 4-2. That is an abomination.
Well, I asked Della in the week, do you think Conte has a point regarding Tottenham not signing the players that he wants, or him not have? He plays a defensive game, but his defenders are pretty much shit. And when we were talking about them having the window of a lifetime, I didn't really consider their defensive structure. So do you think there's any legs in him not signing the players that he needs or wants?
No, I think it's lazy, because if we're going to call Conte like one of the top class managers in the world or what have you not, surely that there has to be an element of coaching that comes in with that. Work with the tools that you've got.
They're still
and you also
though.
know the club that you came to. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you've shied away from the Pochettino model, who was a good coach, works with up and coming players, and he can get the best out of scraps. And let's be real, that's probably what Tottenham's been, right? And then you've got Conte, and Conte comes in, and Conte works well when he's got the players he desires, irrespective of what they cost or irrespective of their flair, to play the system that he desires. And Levi is one of the most thrifty or frugal chairmans in the business. So the two just didn't really mesh.
Yeah, so is it a Conte problem or is it a Tottenham problem? Because we've seen the same Tottenham problem happen with multiple managers.
It's both, but I'm not absolving Conte from...
Of course not, of course not. Okay.
Yeah.
We can probably touch on it because the Tottenham game's actually finished now, isn't it?
Yeah, finished 1-0. Harry Kane is now broken Jimmy Greaves' record.
Yeah.
Oh, he's broken in that. Oh, well done. Well done.
1-0 Fulham.
That's
1-0
Spurs. The Spurs record. So now is what's the next record? Alan Shearer's.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could probably retire now.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do, because hasn't a news report come out that this guy's considering staying at Spurs?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wild boy. Yeah.
Thing is, though, like in my mind, like you're breaking all these records, but there's nothing in his trophy cabinet.
What's with that?
Yeah.
What's with that? He's a very confusing. He's a confusing striker, because this guy could go on to be named as one of the all-time greats that England has produced. But he needs trophies to accompany that.
Is it too late for that?
You know what?
No.
It's not too late.
He can
for
do it
that.
with Van Persie.
How old is he? He's 30 now.
No, I don't even know how old he is.
No,
29
and 30, yeah.
But can he do Ed Van Persie? Because Harry Kane has actually been afforded the opportunity to catapult Tottenham into history.
No, as in go to another club and win it.
I know. I'm asking. I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying. Okay, let me ask this, because in the group I was in, another question that was posed: is it actually Tottenham the problem, or is Harry Kane the problem? Because when Liverpool beat Spurs in the final, Harry Kane didn't do much to deserve being involved.
Yeah, but
in that game.
that was the manager's problem.
So the manager made a mistake. But then Harry Kane now, being Harry Kane, if you are that guy, you are meant to come and show your world-class brilliance.
But he's come out from injury, so it's the manager shouldn't have played him.
So you don't put anything on Harry Kane. Harry Kane obviously wanted to be part of that game. You don't think Harry Kane should have, if you are that world-class player, you don't think Harry Kane should have done something for you?
No, Harry Kane, he was selfish because he knows he wasn't fully fit, but he wants to play in the Champions League final. So the manager should be like, you can be a sub. You don't start him.
So you're putting on thinking. So my question would be: does he go somewhere else, and does he just do the same thing? Just stat pads, get spare goals.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
It depends what team he goes to.
Yeah, it'll be wise for him to move. I think his time at Tottenham he's been low to the point where low to without fault at the minute. He's been there for a while. He's given them opportunities. They haven't provided any opportunities to win trophies. He's still scoring goals at a rate. I think he's probably due a move. So it's up to him
When
whether
you
or not.
say loyal, it's not really loyal, because I think he would have left if he could have.
He's got form for this, by the way. Look at even England. Remember when there was a whole talking points where he's against France and whatnot. He's actually got form for when it matters.
Do you think it gets to the point where you just have to question his mentality?
This is what I'm saying.
He just feels comfortable and safe. He doesn't want to go anywhere. So
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think at this point in his career, it is the next move. If he signs a contract with Tottenham, I can only see him even doing that just so that they can maybe get some more money for him.
No.
If
I think he's signed
a
contracts like that for the last
done.
2 times he's signed contracts, where he's thinking, if I sign this contract, I'll get more money for the club. And then I leave you saying, bro, you're not going nowhere. You should just sign a contract. And then he's doing that on the golf course, doing interviews with Gary Neville, bro. Like, it's the same pattern over and over again.
Yeah,
bro.
I hear that.
If he signs a contract with, and if he extends his contract, he's a Class A bum.
No, I think he's sending a clear message. He's sending like, I'm comfortable to the world. I'm comfortable here. This is what I want to do.
I think if he signs a contract and Spurs have got every intention of keeping Conte as manager, I think I would agree that is a bum. I personally think he should move. I think it's the best thing for his career, and also I think it will give him that level of energy to effectively
play another like 3-4 years.
Yeah, like he just needs a little bit of a switch up. In my personal opinion, I think after looking at Weghorst, I was saying
You take him.
I would, yeah, 100%. I would take him United squad. For a while, I was saying that I wouldn't want to spend the money on him just because I know how much the outlay will be. But we're at the stage where strikers are hard to come by, and strikers in the Premier League that are scoring goals are hard to come by as well.
Definitely.
So if someone like I was going to say Alan Shearer, imagine if someone like Harry Kane became available, you take
It's a
him.
no-brainer.
But
Yeah,
how
you
much do
take
you think he'll go for, and who can afford him?
United can afford him.
Yeah, but if he's in the last year of his contract, he can't be that much.
So when you say United can afford him, you just got Weghorst, so you can't afford him.
No,
I
we
think-
can.
Yeah.
But I think
So why have you got Weghorst if
I
you
think-
can,
No,
you
I
can do
think
better?
in this window, I think we
Yeah.
will struggle to sign someone.
So in the summer, you think you can afford him?
We'd have the takeover by then.
But I don't know if you can afford him based on how Levy negotiates.
If
That's
Kane,
the one thing I'll be worried
if Kane
about.
was available now at, let's say for instance 100 million, I think Man United would make a bid for him for sure. So we can afford him. But players like him ain't available in January. Players like him to get someone like Harry Kane in a January window, you're paying over the odds
I was
just
just
because it's in season.
I was just going to say that circumstances definitely play a part in it, because obviously Wigworm.
Wigworm.
Wiggles.
It feels
You're taking a
it
big-
feels too.
I always forget his name. Like I forgot he was playing yesterday. I just forget the guy's name in it. So obviously the Burnley striker. Should we just call him that? Yeah. So
Yeah.
The Burnley striker. Obviously for 6 months. That's the circumstances surrounding that deal. It makes sense in terms of expenditure, whatnot. But to try and find a striker that long term, you're looking at a contract that's going to span over 3 to 5 years. There's a lot more money involved in that, and I'm not sure that United can afford that at this particular time.
Sure. And can I just touch on?
But in the summer, it would be a different.
Yeah.
And can I just touch on that? Because we talked about it before that obviously Chelsea were spending a lot of money, and then they were signing these players on big contracts. So I was reading more into it. So obviously they got took over. So financial fair play starts again when they get taken over. But the whole point of them offering these long contracts
It works
now,
out to like £30 a week.
is to allow them the financial fair play. So that's why they sign them on these 8 years, because they justify it and say we spent this much money, but over the 8-year contract is
They're moving mad. They're in a talks for another midfielder from.
I feel like they're kind of like applying. They're applying like an American style.
No, I think, you know what, on the contrary, I think what Chelsea are doing is it reminds me a little bit of what I view Arsenal to be now, like with the forwards they've got and a dynamic of play. And I think you actually touched on it when we were talking about the El Midico, that if they go down the fullback, whatever. But if they go down the fullback flank, then you've got your fullbacks. Keep saying fullbacks. Yeah. The fullbacks going the bombing down, and you could also, or you could even do like what Arsenal do, where we've got inverted, and then you've got like your CM that comes out, and you know it's hard to defend against, and then you've got your forward players that literally can just run riot with Modric. That boy, the guy's looking like he could be an issue. That Madueke dude. Have I said his name correct?
Yeah, Madueke.
Yeah, but this guy's got goals in him. You know what I mean? Chelsea could be a serious prospect. You get what I'm saying? So, actually, I feel like, you know, they're gonna be a force to reckon with in the next season or two.
Yeah, definitely.
And Konate is in his last year of his contract, I think.
Who? No, not Konate.
Who?
Kante.
Kante.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kante.
Kante, sorry, I should have said.
Oh, sorry.
What's that CB that begins with a B? Bad Wheels.
Badishile.
Yeah, he's been sick.
But do you know who that? Do you remember the time when Henri was managing? Henri was managing Monaco.
Yeah.
And in interviews, he was walking and someone didn't put the chair in.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah, that's him.
Was that him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonder kid still, man. He was a wonder kid.
He should have scored against Liverpool.
It was a great save, man.
No, it wasn't. It was a poor header.
Bro, it was like anyway.
He should have scored.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the big 6 games. Podcast come to an end. So as usual, let's talk about our back pages. And the back page is where we obviously shine light on players, clubs, managers that have done well this week. I'll start with Strives. Who's your back page mention?
I'm sure everybody's got to have the same player this
No.
Would this be the first ever time?
For the same?
It could be the first ever time everyone has the same player. I'm just saying it should be. But go on.
Your defense is in trouble and catches on the ball.
What you said? Nketiah? I thought you were going to say Saka.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Saka.
No, you know what, Saka is honourable mention to Saka and what have you not. But in Nketiah, I loved what he done. I love what he did, and you know what I also loved, which I didn't get a chance to expand on because you guys kept rushing me, is he exposed AWB as well. Like that lapse of concentration. It was the
100%.
same lapse of concentration we saw against Grealish, and obviously he exposed that again, and it just shows that.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, shut your mouth, please. Yeah, so I'm giving. That was so rewarding.
You're gonna live through it.
Honestly, I'm not even fighting at the minute. He's earned this bastard.
But yeah, no, Nketiah still. It might be a different story when we play United and you got maybe Dalot and Casemiro. How old was Casemiro again? 34. Yeah, but anyway, it might be a different story in the future. But for now, yeah, I loved what Nketiah and Reed did.
On AWB, because you brought him up, that's one of his issues. He gets beat on the back post. A lot of that is actually one of his defensive frailties. I would say I've seen it so many times. So that first goal was particularly frustrating because the way Nketiah dunked on him was like, Jesus, again.
And he snuck on him.
He snuck on him like
it wasn't really a forceful one, was it? It was like
AWB was flat-footed.
He's just like peekaboo.
Yeah, 100%. AWB is flat-footed. You got to meet that.
What annoys me is that he actually was with him to start with.
He looked at him.
Got sidetracked by the next Arsenal
we're going to talk about Man United again.
Sorry. Keep mine short and sweet. Mine is Saka, quality player, bro. And then obviously throwbacks of his GQ photo shoots were circulating. So yeah, well done, man. Like, bro, you can't not be happy for the guy.
This is the guard of honor that I should have got from the United fans. But
yeah, that's right. Do it yourself, man.
Do your thing, man. I'm actually going to say Saka as well. And I've said it before. The guy, he is special. He's a special player, and I really like him. So, is he the best right winger in the Prem?
No.
Does he get into everyone's team?
I can see by Marlon's face here that he's gonna say Anthony.
No, hell no.
So what, Saka doesn't get into everyone's team?
Yeah, of course.
100% he does. Yeah, Saka's come a long way, and what's credit to him? He's not my player, by the way, but. Credit to him. Every single game he plays, he actually improves. Every single game he improves. So yeah, he's a baller. But mine will be Rashford. Rashford has 17 goals this season. The most he's ever got in a season is 22. So he's well on the way to beating that. He had a particularly great game against Arsenal. He cooked Ben White, got him substituted at half time. Then Tomiyasu came on. He cooked Tomiyasu a couple
right now.
Am I lying? I'm telling facts. I'm telling facts. He's a positive.
Ben White had a little bit of a madness.
He got cooked and he got hooked.
He misplaced a couple of passes and then he got that yellow card. Then he got that yellow card. He had to go. But Tomiyasu,
I like that.
Tomiyasu, he did not get cooked. He cooked Tomiyasu one time.
Twice.
One time.
I can get the clip.
He said cooked and hooked, bro.
Bro, he cooked and hooked,
my guy.
No, he didn't get cooked and hooked.
After he got cooked. I mean, that's a cooking and a hooking.
You know, hey Ben White, I tried for you, bro, but even I was screaming at the TV, bro. I was like, blood, what are you doing, bro? Yeah, but you see Tomiyasu, that was perfect because I said Tomiyasu is the kind of guy that you need on Rashford. He would actually dedicate.
Who's your guy?
Hey, you see this Joey guy, yeah? He would.
He's trying to host. Is he trying to host next week, Joey?
I'm just trying to get home, bro.
It's been tough.
My back page is going to be another Arsenal player. So toss up between Zinchenko and Xhaka.
Player.
And I think
Xhaka.
I'll give it to Xhaka. I think he's been gone under the radar. People be talking about Partey,
Got an assist.
Odegaard, but you ignore Xhaka. Xhaka's been pivotal in that midfield, so I'll say Xhaka for the back pages.
He got an assist as well. I understand.
Yeah, thanks for my clap strives.
Yeah, credit to Arsenal, man. Arteta even could have made it. They're moving mad over there, man. Respects. Bastards.
So listeners, that's episode 3. Thank you for listening. We'll be back again next week.
Hold tight.
Catch us on all major platforms again.
Shout out to Lampard.
Just before we
didn't even talk about it.
Just before we sign off, predictions: Arsenal, Man City, Friday.
FA Cup. I think there'll be changes.
I think they'll both play weakened squads.
Ish. No, but Man City's weekend squad is pretty strong. But Arsenal need to rest players, so I think Man City will win it because Arsenal need to rest a lot of their players.
I'm gonna go Man City. Not even because I'm being a hater, just because I think.
No, I think based on what Sam just said, and I think Arteta will do it purposely as well because
doesn't want to give him too much.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really take from beating a weakened Arsenal team. And I think that's the best way to kind of counteract the mind games that you say Pep's been playing.
Yeah, no, you know what? Good points, but I think Arsenal's going to do it. Yeah, I do think Arsenal's going to do it on Friday, and I think we're going to really see a meltdown from Pep.
Where are you watching the game?
Wherever you want to watch it, bro.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see.
That's it. Thank you, listeners. Over and out.
Peace.
Also, I'd like to apologise for Strava's behaviour.